All right, we're going to interrupt the end of that Kiss song because on the MPW Digital TV Celebrity Hotline right now, it's Paul Stanley from Kiss with Tony Tone and Wes Jordan. Paul, what's up, man?
I love that song. We're going to play that in the show.
I was going to say, I hope that you didn't take it personally that we had to kind of fade it out a little early.
No, we'll play the complete song.
That is fantastic. Buddy, it's great to have you on the radio. Congratulations. Today's the day we've been waiting for. We talked to Tommy about this last week. Kiss Rocks Vegas, DVD, Blu-ray, officially available today, right?
It's very cool, yeah. It really gave us an opportunity to do something that we never thought possible, and that's to put together, in essence, a stadium show for a small venue, because when you don't have to take into account moving it or disassembling it every night, it's kind of like putting a ship in a bottle. If you do it piece by piece, you put something together that you can't get out, but it's pretty impressive. It was a amazing show, and the band was firing on all cylinders, and it was something worth documenting.
Is there extra pressure, Paul, when you know that you're rolling video for the purposes of Kiss Rocks Vegas, or did you not know that this was going to come out of that residency?
No, we definitely knew.
Okay.
And, there's extra pressure because it's kind of like you don't get a do-over. You set aside a certain day to shoot it, and whatever happens, happens. So you hope for the best, and I think, at least I know that I'm aware from the very beginning to the end that this is make it or break it.
Is it different, Paul, when you're in Vegas in 2014 as compared to when Kiss played there for the first time? I think it was like 1974. Totally
different. It's very different. Now the hookers wear Musketeer ears. It's become much more family. When we first played there, most of the people there seemed to be hiding out from somebody. It was very different then. It really had a very different atmosphere, but it's changed dramatically in the sense that back then it was $1.99 all you can eat buffet, and now some of the best food is there. And back then you were seeing some comedian who had one foot in the grave, and now you have arguably the top bands and top talent in the world. So it really has changed dramatically. Everything that happens in Vegas, much to the contradiction of what they say, it doesn't stay in Vegas. Back then, everybody who went to Vegas stayed in Vegas.
Oh, I haven't been out there personally, but I feel like I need to soon.
That's great. Vegas has really changed so drastically, and it's really a fun place to go. It's a terrific place to hang out.
Paul, hey, it's Wes. Now, we saw you guys, it's been almost a month now in Moline, and we got to meet you for the first time, and it was very cool. Tony told you that we play like 40 of your songs that all came from my personal Kiss collection, so I'm a pretty big fan. You being, the juggernaut of Kiss, it doesn't stop. What is Paul Stanley listening to right now?
Oh, that's an interesting question. I'm so steeped in rootsy stuff, whether it's R&B and Philly soul or British blues, British invasion. Mm-hmm. I still find myself always going back to that. I'll listen to whatever is going on right now, and then find my way back there. I think the coolest thing out there right now is 21 Pilots.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Those guys are doing.
But things come and go. What's really great today is forgotten tomorrow. It's one thing to become successful, and it's another thing to sustain success. So I'm always curious about what's going on out there, but there's a reason that Zeppelin is still being played and revered. There's a reason why people are still listening to the Beatles, the Stones, the Who, all the great Motown stuff, Al Green. Tony Bennett. You know, there are just things that are staples, and if you hear them, you know why. Because anything that's around now in some way pays homage to something that came before it. So I'd rather, most of the time, listen to what came before it.
Do you think that makes it tougher, Paul, for aspiring rock bands in particular? Because in a landscape, you know, in terms of like modern or new rock, there's not a lot of radio stations that can play that kind of stuff. So it almost seems like it would be tougher for someone to get started and get airplay. I mean, obviously with things like Spotify and social media, you can get out there, but it's pretty challenging for somebody to get started in 2016.
It is, and yet the same rules apply. If you want to succeed on a large scale, I think you have to go directly to the people. And anything that's made it that has sustained usually does it by word of mouth. You have to go out there and play and bring your music to the people. If you go directly to what I was going to call a record company, which doesn't even exist anymore, you've got probably the guy who last year was heading Michelin Tire suddenly is in the music business. It's a very different thing out there. So I think that most important is to go out and play for people, and the word will spread, and that's how you started off, because otherwise you get signed to some deal where somebody basically owns you. They own your merchandise, they own your music, they own everything, and if you don't come through on your first song, they throw you in the trash bin. So the music business has changed dramatically.
If you're just tuning in, that's Paul Stanley from KISS. I want to touch on, obviously, KISS Rocks Vegas DVD available now. The Freedom to Rock Tour, like Wes was saying, we saw you in Moline. At the same show, Chris Jericho, WWE Superstars there. We ran into him after the show as well. Are you surprised, Paul, when you go to these shows? Because I'm assuming sometimes you might know if there's friends in the audience, and I don't know if Chris Jericho was a friend, but do you get surprised at shows when you're like, wow, I had no idea that so-and-so was there?
Well, Chris is a buddy of mine.
Okay.
And it's always interesting because when I first met Chris, he told me about how KISS had influenced him, and that's always interesting to hear. More than influence, inspired, and it's always interesting to meet entertainers, politicians, you name it, and the people who say that somehow KISS spurred them on or gave them hope or pushed them in some way to achieve their own goals. So that's always very, very cool. Certain people did it for me, so it's great to see that we're at a point, and always have been, quite honestly, where other people get inspiration and in some ways go, well, if they can do it, then I can do it.
Paul, a member of my family is in the U.S. military, and one of the things that I sent him in a care package a few years ago was a couple of KISS records. So what does it mean, the Freedom to Rock tour? You had a gentleman locally that was on your road crew today. Tell us a little bit about that. What does that mean to you personally?
Well, it's so interesting to me that people somehow believe because you're born into a country where you're free, many people believe that freedom is free, and it's not. It's paid for by people who very often either get unrecognized or don't get what's really deserving of their efforts. So I'm talking about the military. The military is who makes this country great. It's not politicians. Politicians sit behind desks and tell all kinds of stories, but the military goes out and walks the walk. So whenever we go on tour, we try to spotlight in some way what the military means to us and to me, and what they've done for us. Being a KISS roadie for a day really is only a way to spotlight the military. Once again, it's not that they're getting paid for a day's work. It's that we get a chance to publicize that these great people come back and don't get what is really deserving of their time and efforts. These people have families, they have wives and kids or husbands, and they may need medical, financial help, and it's just not readily available. So on one tour, we gave $1 from every ticket to Wounded Warriors.
Wow.
This tour, we're giving $150,000 to Hiring Our Heroes. It's I think it's our obligation to pick up the flag, so to speak, on behalf of them, and I think it's everybody's obligation to support our military.
You're 100% right.
Now on was it Alive 3? You guys played the Star Spangled Banner, and on this tour you are you're having the entire audience do the Pledge of Allegiance. What goes through your mind while that's going on?
I sometimes get choked up. It's a beautiful thing to do, to honor your country and to honor the military. There's nothing corny about that. This is the greatest country on earth, and what makes it great is that there is freedom for all people to speak, no matter how incendiary or ridiculous or insulting what they say is. And that's the beauty of this country. We ultimately get to decide who runs the country and who we put faith in, but you don't have this situation everywhere where everybody gets to speak freely. So to be able to get an audience to remember how lucky they all are and how lucky I am, I'm a product of all this. So to be on stage and do the Pledge of Allegiance, hell yeah.
It was a cool moment for sure, and I hadn't done the Pledge of Allegiance in a while, and I kind of felt guilty about that. Again, if you're tuning in right now, Paul Stanley from KISS on the radio with Tony Tone and Wes Jordan here at Vintage Sound. On your Twitter, Paul, I thought this was cool, and I wonder if 20 years ago I would have told you that you'd find yourself on the cover of Food and Beverage magazine, what you would have said. Congratulations. That's very exciting.
Well, if I had been on it back then, it would probably have been for like a pie eating contest. But
that's awesome.
Rockin' Brews is this really incredibly successful, explosive juggernaut of a restaurant that's really just taken off, even far beyond what I expected. We have 20 now in America, and great food, great craft beers, usually between 80 and 100 craft beers, great staff, and it's a place where, you know, during the day you can bring your kids, you can bring your pets, and you're surrounded by great people in an atmosphere that pays tribute to classic rock, the music we all love, without looking like a funeral parlor with dead musicians' clothes hanging on the wall. I mean, it's really not about that. It's about now. It's about celebrating friends and having a great time with friends and family, and being surrounded by the music and people that you like being around.
We definitely got to get a Rockin' Brews in the state of Iowa. I'm just going to put that out there for you.
You betcha.
I think it would
totally. You betcha.
I second that.
Yeah, it would totally work. As we wind up with the conversation, Paul, I wanted to ask you, so 20 years ago in 1996, the first concert I ever went to in my whole life was KISS, and it was so nice to see you guys 20 years later. I had a blast. I enjoyed it. You're flying through the air. It's such a wonderful thing to see firsthand. I wonder, and it is kind of a cliche question, but as you go to these shows in different cities, you're in Ohio tonight, do you have a personal favorite song that's in the current set list, or that is maybe something that'll get sprinkled in as you are on the road year after year?
It's really cool to be playing Flaming Youth, which is something we didn't play. I don't know if we ever played it from Destroyer, so that's a lot of fun. Rock and Roll All Night is a great way to cap the evening, and it kind of sums everything up. Detroit Rock City is such a battle cry and an anthem that's probably the one that really gets me the most. Although I can't say that there's a bum song in the set. It's really amazing to have such a body of work to choose from, where every song is an A-lister.
Absolutely.
Is there a song that you would like to play on tour that you're not playing?
Great question. Really, we cover all the bases, and it's a full meal.
It is, and I tell you what, if you get the chance to see the Freedom to Rock tour, you need to. If not, you can live vicariously through people like us that went and pick up Kiss Rocks Vegas DVD, Blu-ray, vinyl. It's out there in all the formats. And Paul Stanley, listen, you're a busy man. We truly appreciate the time. The rest of the tour is going to be great, and we hope you have a good weekend, man.
Thank you. You too.
We'll talk to you soon, all right?
Absolutely. Anytime. Just call me at home.
Deal. All right. Thank you, sir.
Bye.
Bye.
Coming back